so nice to have you here this afternoon.
Thank you.
I'm anxious and excited and nervous.
It's gonna be fun. Hello, I'm Shannon, obviously.
I'm Monty.
This is my neighbor. He is a Michigan born man living in Florida for 30 years now, right? And we're just going to do a fun little interview today, chat it up.
It picks up the voice, that's all?
Yeah.
Wow.
You got your microphone going. So
That's
I'm going to show his backyard. It's really beautiful. Of course, the AC kicked on for the video.
There's a song in my day called Watch What Happens.
I love that. How does it go?
Oh, don't ask me to sing it.
You don't want to?
It was a good jazz song.
Okay.
Popular.
By who?
Back at, I don't remember who.
Watch What Happens? I'll have to
a
look
lot
it
of
up.
A lot of people recorded it because it was a popular song, maybe in the 50s perhaps, I don't remember.
Love that.
When you and other people talk to me so many times, it brings a song of my day back to think about when you've said a certain something.
Yeah.
And I remember that song then, and I can apply it to that. Like I come out here every morning and I watch that picture, and at first I call my little chameleon. Generally she'll come out. Most times she'll stay with me when I talk with her in a little bit. And then I sing about 4 songs to Kathy. And it's been ever since she passed, that's never going to change.
Yeah.
And all those songs, I messed with the lyrics a little bit to make it apropos for my purpose.
Right.
And but that's what I started to say, is that different things that happen, somebody will say something and it'll bring a song to my mind.
I love
I guess
that.
because I know so many.
And you're a true musician at heart. Music is your life. And I definitely feel that. I love music so much.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, how can anybody not love music?
Right. I wonder the same thing.
I'm not questioning what's going on today, but perhaps I am. I don't understand some of the music today.
Yeah.
They took my beautiful instrument, a guitar, which was such a musical beauty, and made a sound effects instrument out of it, to see how many noises and sounds and stuff they can make, and that broke my heart.
Right. So you've been living here in this place for 20 years?
30.
30. Okay.
Yeah, actually, we've been here since '85 now. I'm not going to do the math.
Right.
We're to this, I think it's over 30 years that I've been down here, because we've been in this house in 1994. We moved in.
So I was 2 years old. What are the biggest changes you've noticed in this area since you first moved in? What would you say has changed the most since then?
Mostly road work has changed tremendously, that type of thing. And the change of places you shop in. Stores keep changing. There's a few that are pretty much cemented in, like Publix, and I believe we still have Albertsons over here, do we?
I don't know.
Maybe we don't even have that one anymore.
It doesn't sound
familiar. There was Safeway, and there were many other stores prior to this day that we would shop at.
What have you noticed when it comes to technology and with people interacting in the public spaces? What would you say you've noticed in the last 50 years has changed?
Where do I begin?
I know, right?
Oh, it's astounding. Perhaps not all for the good.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the things they're overwhelming because I don't understand them. I did music all my life, and then there was a time when we moved down here that we had to start to find other ways of surviving and monetarily, and we became temps. And I want to tell you, especially for Kathy, because she was born to be a singer.
Right. And she did live out that role for many years.
Many years.
Which we will get to.
and for her to be able, this is what astounded me, because when we became temps, we went to day work that we weren't familiar with and had to do things we had no clue. We became cashiers at the the college for Florida. Never touched a cashier in our lives, and all that kind of stuff. And then a lot of heavy work and different things, and how she adjusted and was able to do that from such a change in life.
Yeah.
Plus, when we did all our traveling and our big time music was with orchestras, live musicians,
right?
People I conducted, and I wrote the arrangements musical, so they'd play them to our preference.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I'd not been schooled. I never went to any kind of a music school or had any kind of that. I think I told you the part about I got a guitar when I was about 13.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And it came with lessons, and
you can tell that story again if you would like.
Well, the teacher it was bought from my dad and mom from Sears, and it was a guitar that came with 10 lessons was the package.
Right.
So I got up to my 5th lesson, anticipating that it was weekly. The teacher would show up, and he never showed up. And then he never showed up from that time on. And that initially made me feel perhaps I wasn't a good enough student, that he wanted to continue teaching me, and I was brokenhearted. But then I was also, my nature is persistence, and so I decided I would self-teach myself, which I did.
That's awesome.
And I went on till I was about 18. First, I went to high school. After I graduated from grade school, I went to high school, and they had a big band for the different programs at the school. And I got to the point where I was good enough to be a guitar player in that orchestra in different functions and stuff. And then from there, I finally, when I was about 18, you need to be 21 in Detroit at that time. I don't know if it's still the same, to be in bars where they sell liquor. And I was about 18 when I got a call from a person that wanted me to join his band, trio, I think it was.
As the guitarist?
A guitar, and it was accordion and bass and guitar. And working at a nightclub in downtown Detroit, a posh club. And so I accepted the job, but then worried about getting into the bar and being able to play there because of the restrictions. So I kind of tainted. I had a little hint of a mustache, and I took an eyebrow pencil, I believe, at that time, and colored my mustache. And I bought a Homburg hat, which I thought made me look like a man. And I got by. It worked.
Yeah.
I was able to play with the group. And of all things, on one of our sets that we were playing, I noticed a gentleman in the bar sitting at two men sitting at a table, and I recognized him as I thought as my guitar teacher from years back. So I had the nerve then, the curiosity to find out. So I went over to his table on our break and asked him if he ever taught guitar, and he said yes. And I said, "At Sears?" He said yes. I said, "Well, you were my guitar teacher. Was I that bad that you stopped teaching?" And he said, "No, I started selling insurance because I could make more money doing that than teaching the guitar."
Yeah.
So that took that black cloud over the top of my head totally away. It disintegrated.
Wow.
And
what are the odds? You know,
this is what amazes me about different things in my life. The odds are, and again, I'll always emphasize that I'm not really, evidently I'm not curious enough to seek out and find out why. I'm just happy that it happens.
That's all you need to be, I think.
Exactly. That's what I finally determined. It took a long time to realize that was more important than why and how.
Yeah.
And that's happening in more so in my latter life now, these last few years, than it ever had done before, although it was pretty much that way my entire life.
Yeah. You've always just been where you need to be, following your
Are you familiar with West Point?
No.
Do you know what it's about?
I don't think so.
It's a military academy up in New York. Very, very elite.
Okay.
Wealthy families send their sons there to become officers.
Okay.
I had a friend in Detroit at a time back in the 1950s, early 50s, that I was playing with in Detroit. He's a jazz piano player, a very good piano player, who was from a wealthy family. And we would play gigs every weekend or something like that, or bars, I don't remember. And he called me one day and said, Bob, I'm going to be drafted. I have to go to the Army. So that ended my stint with him. And he ended up, because of the background of his family, to get up to West Point to be in their band.
Oh, wow.
Not as a cadet, because it's all for cadets. It's to train military people to be officers.
Okay.
But they also have a band.
Like a marching band? Or
it's a marching band, and then unbeknownst to me, they also had music bands, big bands and small bands, and different groups of all different sorts. And I became a supply sergeant, and I was working in Fort Lee, Virginia, I believe. And I got a call from Joe Grandy, and he said, Bob, are you familiar with Lawrence Welk? Does that name ring a bell to you at all?
No.
Lawrence Welk was a giant television star and orchestra back in the 40s and 50s. He had his own TV shows that was extremely popular. If you ask any your grandparents about
I'll have to
Lawrence
look him
Welk,
up. I will.
He was very popular, and he had a guitar player named Buddy Merrill. And through their strings, they had Buddy got up at West Point and was their guitar player up at West Point at that time. Joe called me and said, Buddy's being released from the Army. His time is up. Would you want to fly up at your own expense and audition for that position? Because it's open right now. And I grabbed it naturally, I didn't want to be a supply sergeant.
Right.
And so I did that. I flew up. I had to audition for the colonel of the whole musical arena. And there was also, I'm going to name names you're not going to know, but there was a group called the High-Lows. They were in competition with the Four Freshmen. Both of those groups were enormously popular in the 40s and 50s, vocal groups.
Cool.
Well, the piano player and orchestra person for the High-Lows was stationed up there, as well as my friend Joe Grandy. And he was one of the persons that had to check me out as a guitar player, because he was an extremely well-known pianist and musician with a background. So he and several other musicians and the colonel, who we had to impress, and this person's name was, whoops, it doesn't matter. The piano player from the High-Lows asked if I could play a particular song. And this particular song in show business in our day, I'm going to have to keep referring to that, was a very popular song and a very difficult song. It made unique chord changes in the song, the way it was written by, I don't remember now the person who wrote, Jerome Kearns or somebody. And I knew this song.
What's it called?
All the Things You Are.
Okay.
For some strange reason, here we go back to that mystery and not asking. I could hear a song and I could play the song. I could play the chords to it, because I could hear the chords, not ever seeing the music. It was because I had
You have perfect pitch.
Well, no, it wasn't perfect pitch. It was near perfect, but it was attuned
Yeah.
to
That's
music
awesome.
that way. It was unique in and others like me that could hear that without having to study and learn
Mhm.
or read the music to play.
Right.
I worked with a lot of musicians that had to have the music in front of them and they couldn't play without it.
Okay.
And that always struck me as odd
Yeah.
because I never needed the music. I just played.
So
I hear it.
interesting.
It was, I say, it was a unique
It's
gift
a
from
natural
God.
talent. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so I knew that song. I played it fine, and he played it along with me. Or I don't remember all the details. That's how many years ago? 1950. And so I was accepted.
That's great.
And so I was now the only guitar player in the band up at West Point for
Nice.
2 years. And I was rather proud of that.
I'm sure.
And there was a group, there were several groups around, all always looking for other musicians. And this one particular group was looking for a guitar player. And they nailed me, and that's who I made money in the Army.
That's
because
cool.
we played all these different officers' clubs and parties at night all the time for 2 years and got paid for it.
Yeah.
And plus, I was playing with an excellent group of musicians.
So what could be better for you?
Well, I'm going to throw a stone in there now.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
No, this is why we're here.
I was most recently out of basic training, and after that became the supply sergeant. I wasn't a sergeant yet. I was just a private first class. I shouldn't call that. It was in that department, supply.
Right.
And when I lost my train of thought right now where I was going.
You said you were going to throw a stone in it.
Oh, yes. Yes, because I was most recently out of a basic training and firing weapons, which I'd never fired before.
Right.
Never had a gun in my hands.
Yeah. You don't seem like the type.
I'm not. And
More like a guitar.
I also wasn't a soldier.
Right.
I became one, but
not by choice.
Not by choice. And so, guess who they chose? Because an order came through. All the musicians that were up there at West Point, that have most of them older and been there for years, because they would never quit.
Yeah.
Know, and up in years and never had any training in weapons because they didn't have to do that. Well, an edict came through where they must learn how to fire a weapon.
Oh no. Yeah.
Guess who they chose to teach these men to fire weapons and put them on the firing range and work with their weapons, clean them and all that? Okay. Because I was most recently out of boot camp, I was the only one they put.
Even though you didn't have any experience either?
Well, I had experience from the training, recent training.
But not much, or?
Well, you know, whatever they train you, how to protect yourself and all that. I know you're supposed to fire this one gun in a particular way so it doesn't backfire and hit your lip and give you, there's a joke about fat lips. Okay. I had a fat lip.
Did you?
Yeah. Anyway, I had to train these old folks, older gentlemen at that time. And that, I did it because that was the thing I had to do. And there was also a piano player. We never socialized much while I was stationed up there. I lived off base. Okay. I was married at the time to another person, and she came with me when I was stationed up in New York, and she had TB, and we had a battle with that. But she got it. She worked on the base with some officers, something like that. Kept busy too. And I met this one piano player who was more of a New Yorker. I used to have a trio in the New York playing at the bars, and we socialized a little bit. And then he was released from the Army, and shortly after that, I was, after 2 years or whatever that time was. Now I don't remember. I was released honorably.
Okay, nice.
I must stress that. And that day home, on the way home to our apartment, we lived off base and had an apartment. All the way home, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was so happy.
Yeah, I bet.
And so anyway, now to try to connect this story, that piano player's name was Pepe Morelli.
Okay.
And he was a pretty well known in New York at that time when he was still working before the army. Well, because of my wife's TV, after we were back in Detroit from the military, I had worked in Las Vegas prior. I had joined a band in Detroit when I was 19 or 20, I guess, something like 20.
Okay.
And I that's the one I was working with when I faked my mustache and all. Anyway, I left him sometime later, and then maybe a week or a year later, I got a call from him. Would I want to join his band again and go to Las Vegas?
Okay.
The Las Vegas part hit me real big because the climate would have been very good for Joy, my first wife, for the tuberculosis, because it's a very non-humid area. Okay. And so we chose to do that, and we traveled with them. We played at different cities all the way out to Las Vegas.
So you did like a little tour on the way?
Different bars every 2 weeks, usually 2 week bookings at different clubs on the way out.
Oh, nice. What were the clubs like on the way? Just all types?
All types.
Mm-hmm.
Rough in San Diego was like a sailor bar, and they were
nice.
rough and tumble and stuff. And most of them were typical family bars where couples would go out and eating to dance and listen to music. And a sidebar on that, being with that band, have you ever heard of the word pantomime?
Pantomime?
Bands in those days, in the 40s, some bands would do pantomime. They took records, hilarious records, funny records, whatever you could find that was kind of on the humor side, play them and play the part and dress the part to the record you're playing to entertain the club, giving like a show besides the dancing.
Right.
And so
that's cool.
I hated that.
Did you?
It was not my personality.
Right.
But I did it because I wanted to go to Vegas and get a joy out of that.
Okay.
And so I became
kind of like the army. You're like, I did it, but it wasn't for me.
I wasn't happy doing it, but it was a good band.
Okay.
And we did good music too. That was the part that was good. And the bass player on the band stayed in Vegas after the band broke up because the leader was a gambler.
Okay.
We were working at the Golden Nugget at that time. That was a very popular downtown bar in Las Vegas before Vegas blew up.
Right. And so at that time, what was it kind of known for? Casinos?
I'm sorry?
Was it known for casinos at that time?
Only? Oh, yeah. It was very popular. Just for
gambling? And shows
definitely.
And music.
Gambling and shows.
But they didn't have everything.
Not all those big hotels.
Right.
In the interim, then, after I left that, so we moved out to Vegas then. And I had to wait. I can't remember the duration now, but to join their musicians union, they had a hold on musicians when they came in that you couldn't work for so many months. I don't remember now the time, till you could get your card to play professionally, so you weren't disturbing local musicians.
Okay.
But anyway, this bass player I told you that left the band and stayed in Vegas was kind enough to house me when I first went out there, because I went out alone to get settled in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And he took me to the different bars at that time. Now the bars, the second time I went out to Vegas, they had the strip hotels and all the big la 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 stuff, and it was really, really moving. It was still gang operated. We toured Bob Barr was the bass player's name, and he took me on a tour of the different clubs in the evening, just to get familiar with the action and stuff. Well, first of all, he got me a job at the Golden Nugget, because he was a cashier there.
Okay.
When he left the other band, he stayed in Vegas and got hired then as a cashier at the Golden Nugget. They used to have, are you familiar with shills?
No.
I got so many stories.
This is why I'm excited to do this.
Shills were hired by the house, the gambling house, the casino, to stand at the tables and play with the house money. You'd have two or three, well, always even number shills, 2, 4, 6, or something, at a table to make a gambling dice table, crap table, to show activity at the table,
Okay.
to draw other people to the table, and you would play with that money, and it just went back and forth, and you didn't have any part of getting the money.
Okay.
That was just a prop. And so he got me a job as a shill
Yeah.
at the Golden Nugget, and I'm working at the crap tables and watching people lose their money and some win and all that stuff. I never became a gambler.
Right, that's good.
I just never had that instinct.
I don't either.
And my band leader, I think I told you prior, the first time we were there, he was a gambler. We weren't getting paid and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had adversity to do it. So we're going to the different bars, and he takes me to the Sands Hotel, and in the lounge at the Sands Hotel was Pepe Morelli, my piano player friend from West Point. If you're making any sense out of this at
Which
all.
is from New York.
From
and
New
you're
York.
in Vegas at this point.
He was working in this lounge. He had a band, a trio, in the lounge at the Sands Hotel where the Rat Pack, Sinatra, and all of them would come to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Martin, Sammy Davis, they were all there all the time. And I walked in, and I saw him, and when I got a break, I made sure I went to see him and talk with him. He said, "You're going to work with me as soon as you get your card." He had a sax player with his group, and he wanted to change the sax to a guitar.
Okay.
And
that's
lucky
perfect.
me.
Wow.
Well, here's that thing happening.
Yeah.
Out of the clear blue
Just
sky.
meant to be.
And so once I got my card, while I was still shilling at the tables, I must have done a pretty decent job because they graduated me to being a dealer at the roulette table.
Okay.
Can you picture
That's
me
funny.
at the roulette table?
Yeah, especially someone who doesn't
payments.
have their own inclination to gamble at all. Just helping other people.
Just happening.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that then until I could get my musician's card and officially go to work for Pepe. And that took several weeks. I don't remember enough time. Then I went to work with him, and I had a job in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And my wife came out, and she brought a niece with her too.
And then how long did you work with him there?
I don't remember times too well, except I know it was quite a time.
Yeah.
You're not going to know names. Louis Prima and Keely Smith, if that ever ring a bell.
No, but I'm
They
happy to
were big
look them
stars
up.
in those days, and they were working in the lounge opposite us. In other words, they had 2 or 3 different shows in the lounge as well as the big show in the casino.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not the casino, but the supper club.
Yeah.
And
the hall.
So anyway, I did work with him, but I think it was several months. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. And then he lost the jobs. Oh, they made a change. They're always changing everything over there all the time.
Right.
And so I was on that hide and seek job thing, trying to find ways to work, and I kept luckily finding places and getting other jobs. So then I started playing at some of the other clubs, got jobs with other bands, and survived.
Right. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're always on your path where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
That's why these things keep happening.
My wife at that time became in the casinos, she was a change person. People would get change and they could play the slot machines and stuff like that. And she was doing that. And there was a girl singer, Carol Simpson, a jazz piano player, singer. They got booked into the Thunderbird. I was at the Thunderbird Hotel. And she had bass and drums. And somehow my first wife knew the boss in that lounge pretty well. I don't know details. And she decided to hire a guitar player, bingo. So I got a job with Carol Simpson. She would have her name in the archives somewhere as well. She was
Okay.
very good. And then I different bars all the time until my dad got sick in Detroit.
Okay.
This was about a year or something, year and a half later. So they asked for help. So I decided we better move back. That's when we went back to Detroit. Then in that interim was the period of time back in '58, somewhere in there, that my wife wanted to divorce me, which she did. She, at that time, because she always was working, she was not nothing to do with her. I'm not going to put her down personally. Sadly, she turned into an alcoholic, so died from that.
Yeah.
But she was working at this club called the Alamo in Detroit, which was associated with the Purple Gang.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of them?
No.
It's a Jewish mafia.
Okay.
You know mafia.
I mean, yeah.
And she was a hat check girl and that kind of thing there. And this bar owner in the summer, I may have told you this, had cookouts every Sunday at his house in the summer. And I was there every Sunday with my guitar because different performers would come around, accompany them, back them up. And by chance, in that month of that year, it was July 12th, 1959, that she got a call from a mutual friend, a disc jockey in Detroit, who was playing her records at that time, to come to this cookout. It was the same cookout where I was at.
Okay.
So I saw her come in the door, flipped over her, and hoped I would get to meet her in the party atmosphere. And then later on, somebody asked if she'd sing for the crowd, and she said, sure. So that's when I got out my guitar and accompanied her. And it went so well that it encouraged me, I'm sure I told you this, to ask her if she'd consider going out with me while she was still in town. She was in for 2 weeks. And it was on her day off that she was there. And she said yes.
And that was Kathy?
That was Kathy.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I left that part out. Well, Joy was divorcing me.
Right.
It was all in that same cycle of time there, whatever you'd call that period of time, that all this happened. And I was in the process of having the divorce when I met Kathy. And it was like
it was all divinely
God sent her to me.
Yeah. I believe
she didn't know it, and I didn't know it.
Right.
But we got together that afternoon, and from there we started dating. The next thing you knew, we were married.
I love that.
After April 30th of this year.
Aww.
And
April 30th was your wedding day?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
1960.
Nice.
How old were you then? You were.
I was just a thought.
Where were we? Oh. So I came back to Detroit. Got back to working clubs again. And this club that my ex-wife was a hat check girl at, that we met at the owner's house, he would book in some pretty well-known stars at that time, people you won't know, but like kind of on the shady side as far as risque. Lenny Bruce, Don Rickles, Andy Williams, different. Some of them were on the stepping stones to becoming stars and then become stars.
Nice.
And Kathy got booked in that club to be an opening act.
Wow.
And they booked her in quite frequently, which was really kind of old home week.
Yeah.
Her and my first wife became friends.
Well, that's nice.